Hello, Greek students, and welcome to the final week in our class. Congratulations on making it this far. It is really no small feat. If you think back to the very beginning of the semester when you didn't even know the Greek alphabet, you didn't have a Greek keyboard on your computer, to where you are now, you've come a really long way. And you should be very proud of yourself. I am very proud of you. And hit it hard this last week as we move into the final exam, and sort of doing the things for this week, as I'll mention in this introduction, will behoove you for the final exam, as you may have already seen if you've taken a look at what the final exam is. So what we are doing this week, we're introducing a couple of different moods. We're sort of introducing the final moods that are left in Black's grammar. The first is subjunctives, and you should memorize for the grammar quiz the present active forms of the subjunctive luo. And to give you a little preview, what's going to be characteristic of the subjunctive is a lengthened connecting vowel, either an omega or an eta. So the omicron is going to lengthen to an omega in the subjunctive, and the epsilon connecting vowel is going to lengthen to an eta. We're also introducing imperatives, which is the mood, of command, command and prohibition. So if you want to command someone to do something or command someone not to do something in Greek, the most natural way to do that is with the imperative mood. And I'm going to ask you to memorize the present active imperative of luo as well as the present middle imperative of luo. So two different forms of the imperatives to memorize for reproduction on the grammar quizzes. And then the last thing we're going to introduce is what is called me verbs. So far in this class, we've mostly seen what's called omega conjugation verbs. That is to say, the verbs end in omega in the first person singular. There's another group of verbs in Greek that end in me in the first person singular. We've been introduced to one of these with a me, the to be verb, but we're going to look at some more me verbs. And the sort of good news, bad news is that me verbs are not nearly as common in the Greek New Testament as are omega conjugation verbs. The sort of bad news is that there are a couple really important me verbs that it's important for you to be able to recognize what they are and sort of the different changes that happen in order for me verbs to inflect for various tenses, voices, moods, persons, and numbers. So as to what you will be doing this week, we have homework number 1, which is going to be a parsing homework assignment, 12 different parsing items that are taken largely from the chapters that you are reading for this week and the lectures for this week, but I've also thrown in there some past material for review as well. So that one's a parsing assignment. And the second homework does double duty. It's homework 25 and 26. It's a translation using your Greek New Testament Reader's Edition. So we're sort of transitioning you in this last week of the course, and this will also be the case with the final. You'll use this for the final exam, into reading from the Greek New Testament Reader's Edition itself, which we will also do more next semester if you are in the Greek Exegesis of Revelation class. So it's going to be a translation with parsing and grammar questions. So it's, open book, open note. You can use whatever resources you want. I ask that you try to do a translation on your own before looking at English translations. Try not to rely on English translations, but to do your own translation, and then double check if you need to. And of course, there's an answer video with my own translations walking through the Greek and walking through those grammar and parsing questions. And I said at the beginning of this video that it would behoove you to do the things in this week well, and this is particularly the case with homework number 2, because the final exam is going to pick up where homework number 2 for the week stops. So what you're going to do for the final exam is continue translating in 1 John chapter 2. So doing this homework assignment well is going to really set you up for the final exam, because as you'll see as you go to this homework assignment, the sort of structure, the way that 1 John chapter 2 progresses, it really gets into sort of a repetition of grammatical patterns. So if you can recognize those patterns and you know them and you've done them and you're familiar with them, you're going to be set up really well for the final exam, which is also going to ask you to translate from this and answer some different parsing, and grammar questions. Then we have, of course, a vocabulary quiz and a grammar quiz. So you're finishing up with the rest of the vocabulary from Black's Grammar. And then we have a grammar quiz with those things I mentioned about memorization, as well as some grammatical topics about the subjunctive, the imperative, and particularly the formation of me verbs.